All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be going over Zenless Zone Zero and is it trash? So, there's been a lot, been a lot about this game in the last 12, 15 hours, and even China's complaining. It's not really even a a US kind of thing. China, Japan's complaining about the game, and there's a lot of things that I think are wrong with the game as well. I just want to say though, me personally, I do enjoy Zenless Zone Zero, and I will continue playing it. Honestly, the combat feels good to me. Feels, not the mechanic of it, but the way it feels. I'll talk about that in a second. I do love playing the game at 120 FPS, and to be honest, that's the only thing really going for it for me. I'm not gonna lie. No, maybe some character designs, and they're like only like two of them, to be honest. Anyways. So Zenless Zone Zero trash. There's a lot of issues. I will say that there are definitely a lot of issues. One is definitely going to be the progression. I'm not sure if anyone's really talking about this, but the fact that you really don't really get to level 10 where you kind of start unlocking things a little bit more until maybe like an hour or so feels very jarring. If you're not a speedrunner to reroll, 35-minute reroll, and then you spend a little bit more time over an hour to really get to level 10 to really expand, it feels very, very jarring to actually go through that experience. I'm not gonna lie. And what's another thing? So the TV system, okay, yeah, so the TV system. A lot of people have issues with TV system. Me personally, I think it's something different, and that's kind of why I enjoy it, because every game right now is really trying to grasp on like the open world and aesthetic. So it's really like the same systems like for every single game. So I enjoy the TV system personally just because it's something different, but I totally understand. I totally understand if people do not like it. If it's always there. You can never escape the TV system. It's kind of like the main mechanic of Zenless Zero. But a lot of people like don't want to go through the puzzles. Have to go to A to B, put X to Y, then have to do a fight, and then you have to take a request. Like I totally understand. I totally understand. Another problem can honestly be this UI screen. There's a lot going on here, and I feel like it could be a lot more condensed. I'm not gonna lie. What's another thing? Oh, okay. Let's go into combat. Honestly, the combat, it feels good, but there are major issues where you can take forever to kill something if you don't know what you're doing. Now, obviously, if you're playing an action RPG, you should know what you're doing. But in other gacha games, and I'll kind of just relate this to Wuthering Waves, and kind of be like the only thing I'm going to relate to it. Combat, for it to be easy for someone to really access to. And what I mean by that is I can play this character and feel totally fine fighting this enemy with this character because I enjoyed this character. And I feel like Wuthering Waves, or games of that sort give you that kind of freedom to play whatever character you want. I think that's why people kind of enjoy them a lot more. Zenless, even though it's really early game, you can really, really tell that they are hard pushing for you to actually have certain team comps for certain enemies, and if you don't, they take so much longer. And I just finished the Ascension quest. When I get to level 20, and you have to fight 3 bosses. And you would think, oh, you just go through it real quick. No, you do not. Like, honestly, once you do like 5 combos to an enemy and they're barely at 50, it feels very slow. Like, you feel like you're not really doing anything, and you want to know why? It's because you don't have the right element. But here's another thing. I feel like a lot of people, when they're playing Zenless, first of all, one thing I really, really noticed is that if you are not chain attacking in Zenless Zone Zero, don't even bother. If you're not chain attacking and parrying, the damage difference is crazy, by the way. Like, the core mechanic of this game is really the parries, maybe the dodge mechanic, and chain attack. But then it gets really redundant because you really don't even want to play your main DPS on field as much, because you kind of want to prioritize chain attacking so much. So then it becomes a chain attack simulator and maybe like a stun day simulator. And that's pretty much the game, to be honest, when you're fighting enemies. I'm trying to think of what else has really been the issue for people. Obviously we have the hub issue where it's really slow to walk around. Maybe if they can speed up how fast you can walk, that would help. I'm trying to think of another thing that's really slow for people. I do believe, let me think. Oh, there's also a lot of bugs. People can't even play Zenless on their computer, but they can play Withering Waves, which is wild to me. I don't even know how that's even possible. Because this game should not use that much optimization to like crash someone's device that can handle Withering Waves, when Withering Waves has so many bugs in itself. So both Withering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero had trash releases bug wise, so no one can really even try to fight or defend against that. And I mean, what else? Like, I'm trying to think of what else is like really going on for Zenless. I know people are complaining about premium pulls. I mean, I think they're pretty standard. The only reason I think they're probably like catered to Withering Waves because we have so many compensation pulls. The roguelike game mode, I mean, honestly, I don't think a lot of people really got to roguelike game mode. I think it's pretty cool, but again, it involves a TV system. I think the roguelike game mode would have been better without the TV system. You're just going through stages and then you just kind of get the buffs. So that's also another thing. I feel like certain game modes, you don't have to really force the TV system. I do understand it's your core, like that is like your core gimmick of your gacha, but you don't really have to force it upon players for everything that they're doing. Like I can respect that you're trying something different, but you have to force it down everyone's throat when you're trying to do something else. But yeah, combat is very one-dimensional. Very, and it's very forced where the damage output actually comes from. And you know, a lot of free-to-play players, they're not gonna have a lot of teams, and then again, you can't really even build a lot of teams because there's not a lot of currency. And hold on, actually, speaking of that, let me actually show you guys something. So, you know, when you guys come to farm stuff, right? And this is also very weird to me. It feels like the value isn't there unless you actually have this buff. So we have the promotion buffs, right? Or promotion runs, right? And say, unfortunately, I have Coletta as my 5-star character, so I've been using her as a DPS, even though she's not, but I've been trying to. And say I want to run stun drill, right? But we have a coffee buff that increases stun drill drops by 100%, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know, I'm just gonna go back to the coffee shop and then buy the buff and then do it again. The buff is only once per day. So you're basically limited to one buff per day because you can only buy one, sorry, you can only buy one coffee per day. So that means you're locked into one buff per day, whatever you're farming. So that's, I don't really know if I really agree with that. That's kind of jarring, and it makes progression already feel slow when it's already slow. But I do think, to be honest, really, like the progression system, the pinpoints of when you progress feel very slow, like very slow. And it's different in like an open world game, progression being a little bit slower because you have other things to do, like a lot more things to do, and really just even explore. But a instance like a dungeon based game like this, like Soul Leveling Arise, or like Soul Leveling Arise or One Punch Man World, Yes, in those games you're limited by like the end of the day, but you get there much faster. And I don't know, like it's just something that's like making it feel like it feels very long to get by. Now, to be honest, I've played gacha games for 12 years. I'm really adaptable when it comes to gacha games. I'll play any gacha game and I can enjoy them for what they are, but I'll definitely call out like if it's just bad for like the general public, because I feel like nowadays for gacha games need to capture the viewer, or not viewer, the player really early, or it kind of falls off. And I feel like Zenless Zone Zero in the beginning tutorial felt really fun, but when you're, by the way, because then there's the story mode, the trial mode, and then the challenge mode. Yeah, you can do the challenge mode, but enemies are harder and you can use your units, but then it takes longer. And then if you want to do the trial mode for everything, then you're just playing the same 3 characters all the time that you may not even be interested in, and then you lose interest. So on top of all these issues, right? This is exactly why the game should have not been parsed at 110 gigabytes. Are you insane? So you're telling me people have to uninstall stuff on their PC for a 110 gigabyte game? First of all, Wooden Wings is not even 110 gigabytes. So what are you even talking about? What the fuck was even on this game to be 110 gigabytes? Parsed down to 50 gigabytes, right? To then have this. Like what? So yeah, honestly, they already came out with like a notice that they're gonna try to fix things, I suppose. I guess like they're kind of trying to stay on top of it. I don't know what they can really do, to be honest. And this is the only issue that they fixed. There is much more to it, Hoyo, than just that. We have like a community post. I don't know if it's something new. Oh no, it's nothing new. But yeah, they're gonna have to try to remedy this somehow, some way. Cause honestly, is the game trash? Definitely not better than other stuff that's really out, to be honest. Well, majority of stuff that's out, it could be a little bit better. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I mean, I enjoy the game and I'm gonna play the game. I'm honestly just waiting for Miyabi. Kind of sucks Miyabi is not actually out on release, which is actually insane to me. I feel like they would have made a lot more money if it was Miyabi and Ellen. That's just a character I'm really waiting for. But yeah, I just want to talk about this because I know a lot of people are really talking about this and they want to ask me my opinion on the game. So that's gonna be it for today's video, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.